Hi, I'm Kathy from twife.com, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how you can achieve these multicolored stamp images by using a combination of an ink pad and some markers. In this technique, which is relatively simple, you're actually going to be coloring directly onto your rubber stamp. The featured stamp set that we have today is T-Shop, which is relatively new. It's a Stampin' Up set, and as you can tell, I am using the unmounted clear version of this, which pops easily onto these acrylic blocks, and you can move it and put it back on as you need. The advantages of clear sets like this is that they take up a lot less space than the wood-mounted variety, and it works equally as well on the handles. These are called acrylic blocks or acrylic handles. Okay, so let's get on to how we're going to color this. First of all, I'm going to take my Baja Breeze as the main color. And you can see I did try a different one with Lucky Limeade as the base. And that's another way you can go. These colors, of course, are by no means the only ones. You can try all different kinds of colors and designer papers. This is a retired designer series paper called Cottage Delight, and these colors just happen to suit. Okay, so first of all, you want to go ahead and ink up your entire stamp with your chosen color, and in my case this is Baja Breeze. Now when I was first looking for samples for this card, I went to Cindy Wilkinson's site, justspongeit.com, and instead of inking up the base color, she used markers for the entire thing. You know, she colored in all of this area. But since I'm teaching this in a class, I thought it would be easier for the students to go ahead and stamp the whole thing and then actually come in and remove some of the colors. So if you kind of tilt, you can see the image better if you tilt the stamp. And you just go in there with, I have just an ordinary eye makeup sponge applicator. And in between, you want to take off, when you take off the ink, you want to go ahead and rub some of the excess off the sponge. So you just go through, and like that should be a leaf there, and the flower. And you just keep removing the ink until you think you've got enough off. Just kind of look back over it. Okay, and then I'm going to take my darker, this is Perfect Plum, I'm going to take the darker Perfect Plum, and in these gradiated areas here, you can see the darker bits. I'm going to go ahead and use my darker Perfect Plum, or whatever other darker color you're using, and I'm just going to go over the rubber here. And you can see I'm not working in a huge hurry because the ink does still stay somewhat wet. And you can re-moisturize it before you actually stamp your image by simply huffing on the stamp. So this is the lighter color. This is Wisteria Wonder. Just putting that on there. Now, if you want your strokes to show up a bit more, you can do it more in strokes or lines like that instead of circles. It's up to you. This is such a small image that it's really not going to make a huge amount of difference. Okay, and then I have some greenery and leaves here I want to come back and do right there, here. There's some little bits of the buds here. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you go outside the lines, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to re-moisturize now by huffing on the stamp. Now I'm ready to stamp my image onto Whisper White cardstock. And that is it. Very, very simple to do, fast, and the results are impressive. And then I came back and I did a bit of yellow to make the centers of the flowers pop a bit. And that is how you color onto rubber. So you can tell the way I finished this. It's a scalloped frame and a scalloped edge using this. And then I wanted this to look sort of like a tea bag. So I just used some office supply tags here that had this nice white string like you would find on a real tea bag. And again, I want to thank Cindy Wilkinson for originally coming up with this idea. If you notice on the tea bag, you want to make sure that it does sort of hang over the cup as opposed to mysteriously coming out the edge. So very simple to do, and a little bit of the ribbon here, and you're done. Thank you so much for visiting my site.